listening to the Ecosystem Approach show. I'm Jason.
And I'm Patricia. Tune in every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio.
We discovered that human potential is severely limited when you program humans like a machine, which is standard practice today for self-improvement.
The Ecosystem Approach teaches you how to uncover your infinite potential by using natural methods that are truly revolutionary. Join us now for the Ecosystem Approach show. Hi, everyone. This is big. Today, we're talking about soul regeneration that could make profound change for you and your life. We're revealing a metaphor for the soul that creates true understanding of the soul in ways that has been unknown up until now.
This really is kind of exciting.
It is.
And we're going to start like we have been about some of the things that we've been talking to Bashar, Abraham, and Seth about.
Correct.
And then Eleanor, and we had a new surprise person popped in, and we're going to tell you about that too. So
yes. So there's more than one big surprise today. Let me just say it that way.
we're trying to make this interesting, and we find it fascinating. It's sometimes it's almost too intense for us, but we've been talking with Bashar, Abraham, and Seth about this for a long time.
Right.
And we want to understand that souls, we call them essence. We say essence instead of souls elsewhere in the universe. And, Bass was, or Bashar, Abraham, and Seth, who was it that spoke first about the other people? Was it Bashar 3? I think it was.
Okay. Yes. I don't know what your question is.
Who's first was talking about how there are energies, or what we call souls, that are connected to physicality in other places in the universe.
Right.
But it's not
unlike human.
But yes. It's nothing like it is here.
Nothing.
And I thought that was just kind of interesting.
Well, okay. Let's just jump into this. The Bashar, Abraham, and Seth have they understand the essence because they don't live in human bodies. And the physical body is one of the best places in all of the universe to actually evolve.
Or learn how to evolve.
Exactly. And we're going to give you some steps, really good steps today to get started on that. So just stick with us, everyone. But we discovered something the other day.
Yes.
And it's...
Well, did they tell us? I think they did.
I actually asked the question.
Yeah, okay.
I happened to be talking to all of them, and I asked the question, are there new souls coming from other places to Earth? And the answer is no. There's not new souls coming to Earth. What's happening is
that's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
Yes.
And let me just jump to the big thing is because dark energy won't allow it. Now that should be a big clue for you in the fact of why won't dark energy allow that, or negative energy allow that? Who do they think they are? That kind of thing. But understand that it's when people start to evolve, when souls start to evolve, that's where we gain our power.
Yes. And since we haven't been evolving, we've been focusing on accomplishment.
Yes.
And technological advancement, not evolution. We haven't been evolving, and therefore the dark has had an advantage.
Yes.
To kind of I guess that's roughly analogous to a species that's
becoming extinct.
No, that overrides the natural.
Yes.
The natural stuff. We have there's some sort of mussel that they're worried about in California.
Oh yeah, there's times where you can't.
Invasive species is what they call them, and that they
you can't put your boat in the water.
Well, in a way,
fish.
Negative energy dark energy is like an invasive species because it starts to overwhelm, but you don't really see it. It's kind of invisible.
Kind of clever of them, don't you think?
So that was one of the first things,
right?
And then Eleanor, I'm gonna save this for last, but okay. Eleanor said, from her perspective, and this was back in the 19th century, but when Correct. She was here last, but she saw that the women's movement was seen by the dark as undoing their power.
Well, and if you think about it, the uproar of when women, well, we'll start with the right to vote, the suffragettes and such.
That was a little bit later, but yeah,
it was.
Yeah,
but yeah I was. I'm just making a point. The point that I'm getting at is that when women started to step forward and say, "I'm not going to be under someone's thumb or abused any longer, or believe that I am second." In everything that is, the women's movement, it started to change all that. And people, my grandmother, I remember talking about it. She actually knew one of the original suffragettes. Well, it was awesome. And because the fire, she said, that this woman had was unbelievable.
But this is the point, that an imbalance of male and female power
exactly.
in the worldly power
exactly
interferes with evolution, and that making it more balanced,
right?
The balance of male and female power, yes. However that takes place, helps with evolution of the whole. Well, that's huge. And we're going to run out of time, but okay. I wanted to talk about...
This is so important.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg popped in.
She did.
And, what does she have to do with any of all of this?
I mean, and I asked the question point blank, why are you even talking to me? At first, I kind of wondered, was I dreaming or something to that effect? But she said, oh, no. She said, you have some of the brightest... she's talking about Jason and I, some of the brightest energy that can be seen from where she's at. And she talked about a mover and a shaker, about human rights and not being kept down. She was one of the biggest in our time.
And the reason she came forward was she realized that we were talking about the reason she left too soon.
Exactly.
Which is what this show is all about.
Exactly.
So
okay,
here's the next thing. Okay.
Oh, too much information today.
Too
Go
much
ahead.
information, really. So there's the reason this is so perfect, because yesterday was the eclipse.
A lunar eclipse. Yes.
And a lunar eclipse in astrology is about new beginnings. And oh my gosh, it's such a perfect time. This information about essence, in the second segment, we're going to have a visual representation of how essence works in a very, very simplistic way. But it's the beginning of the understanding yes. of not only how essence works, but then how the dark energy works to overcome the power of essence.
Yes.
And then keeps humanity from evolving.
Exactly. And I just... Everyone, there's so much amazing information coming in. Please, not only stay with us, but tell your friends. This is amazing. So just, Jason, let me ask a question. Why is the metaphor to describe the solar essence so important?
So what we did in the second segment, it's not like a literal picture of your essence or your soul. We created a metaphor to describe it. Now, in subtle energy speak, there's no way for humans to truly understand subtle energy, because we think in terms of black and white. Yes. We think in terms of compartmentalization. We think in terms of tangible.
Right.
And all this is intangible.
Yes.
So how do you work with subtle energies? Well, we've been doing this for 25 years. The way you work with subtle energies is by creating a metaphor for what it represents.
Yes.
And when you have that metaphor, you can use it to understand it, mm-hmm. to work with it. Mm-hmm. For example, when we get sick, we ask ourselves, what is the metaphor for us based on our life story?
Yes.
And that tells us what this is all about. And then we can start to clear it, to work with it.
Yes.
That is so empowering, but that works for almost everything else. And the reason Bashar, Abraham, and Seth came to us because they knew that we could appropriately interpret what was being said, because they saw how we worked with this subtle energy.
Yes. And by the way, the surprise of Ruth Bader Ginsburg was as much as Bashar, Abraham, and Seth. No offense, Eleanor. Eleanor is actually from our Earth past. In
an earlier time.
In a much earlier time. But she definitely has things to say. And as it's been said, day ain't over with yet.
Well, and the primary reason, if you know that story about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, is that she died just before Biden was to come into office. And if she had just stayed alive for another month and a half, the balance of the Supreme Court would have been completely different.
Yes.
And she knew, and that's why she came to us, that it was dark energy that made her die sooner than it was her intention to do.
And by the way, she was not happy about it.
Yes.
So, Jason.
Well, that's a really good conversation. That's a whole show in itself.
It will be. Yes, definitely. Jason, what is the summary of this segment?
In communication with Bashar, Abraham, and Seth, they have said in order for souls, or what we call essence, to evolve, they need the physical experience because it gives them what they couldn't have in pure energy form.
Correct.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg came to us because she knew it was dark energy that caused her death, and we're providing that information today so it won't happen to other people.
Yes.
This time of the lunar eclipse is the perfect time to bring this knowledge forward because the eclipse represents a time of new beginnings.
Yes.
This metaphor that we created to describe the soul or essence is necessary to understand the workings of the soul for regeneration and how dark energy interferes with life, both as individuals and collectively. This knowledge is at the heart of the reason we created the ecosystem approach.
In the next segment, we have a special visual segment that will show the basic workings of the soul or essence. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, everyone. I'm really excited about this segment. This is the first time we've been able to offer you and show you in a visual way a metaphor about how we see that the soul works. This isn't actual. When you talk about subtle energies, you always have to speak in metaphors because our language and our perceptions, our human perceptions in this physical world doesn't allow us to understand in the same way in the non-physical world. But using metaphors is a very effective way of doing this. So let's get started, and I'll show you what I came up with. It's very simplistic, but we can build on this metaphor in amazing ways and do some things with it that you never thought possible. It's through this metaphor that you can truly understand how to take the power of your essence in a way that makes it more profound than you ever have in your life. Let's get started, okay? So most people think this is how a soul or essence works, like an energy that follows you around like a cloud. We see something similar, yes. Imagine that cloud of energy breaks down into bits of life force. Maybe this is what a bit of life force looks like. You know, like I said, there's no real, it's not possible for human beings to really understand what a bit of life force looks like, but this I think is a pretty good guess. Okay, it gives you the right feel of what life force would feel like. And the most important part of this is that it breaks down. If you take one whole energy of your essence, like the cloud in the previous slide, we want to break it down so we can break it down into bits and pieces. And this is one bit. Each bit of life force has a consciousness. So think of each of these bits as having a knowing and an understanding and a consciousness that is pretty profound, is not simple by any means. Imagine, here we go. This is where it gets really exciting and profound. Imagine each bit of life force could be represented as a person. Each person would have motives and good and bad behaviors. So if you see a bit of life force, it's not like just a thing. It truly has a consciousness like a human being would, and it has good and bad behaviors. That's really, really profound. That's going to be we're going to build on that when we construct this metaphor. So with my metaphor, there are 100 bits of life force that make up the whole. So you take the cloud and you break it down, and we're just going to arbitrarily break it down into 100 bits. It could be 1,000 bits. It could be 1,000,000 bits. It could be 10 bits. But for this metaphor, just go with me for now. I broke it down to 100 bits. So 100 bits of life force equals the essence that you carry around with you, that cloud. Those 100 bits of life force are like people. They have a consciousness, they have the motives, they have behaviors. And so imagine those 100 bits of life force are your employees who work in your essence. We have 100 employees. That represents 100 bits of life force. These 100 employees are your essence that's represented by the cloud. So when you think of your essence now, you can think of bits of life force, and then you can think of people that are working on your behalf in your essence. These are the 100 employees. These 100 employees work here. So we've created a 10-story building that I'd call your corporate headquarters. That represents your essence. So we went from a cloud originally to this 10-story building. We call this 10-story building your essence, where there's 100 bits of life force working. This will make more sense in just a minute. So what about negative energy? When I've been talking to people about negative energy for years and years. Both Patricia and I have been talking about people's negative energy, and I always get this kind of blank look. They know that, well, negative energy must be bad. They don't really quite understand how it works, and I know we keep talking about it, but imagine these employees. There are employees that are working in your essence that have this negative energy. And for simplicity, we kind of identified them easily. Black hats and white hats, black jerseys and white jerseys. The employees that are working in the best interest of your essence, we label them good. Yes, that's a very, very much an oversimplification. It's not that black and white. It's not that your good employees are all good and your bad employees are all bad. But that makes my metaphor too complicated. Just run with me for now. Making it simple will make it more understandable. The bad employees are employees that are working against the best interest of your essence or you personally. These bits of life force have negative energy attached to them. Of course, it's an oversimplification, but when we can see, we've all worked in companies where there are people who are company people that are working really hard to do what's ever best in the best interests of the company. And then there are those who are actively sabotaging it or just being lazy or just trying to get by and get a paycheck and get to the end of the day. And we're going to use that kind of metaphor to describe these bad employees with more clarity going forward. When you have too many employees that have negative energy, those are the ones with bad t-shirts. When you have too many bad employees, your essence is sick and unhealthy. Here we go. Now it's getting more clear. When your essence is unhealthy, it works against your self-interest. There are many examples. Your health is often an area ripe for sabotage. Imagine bad employees getting together to create cancer or any other disease. You could have these bad employees work for 10 years creating a cancer that maybe you just found out about. Bad employees can create money problems. Because it's an energy, they can create things that happen to you. You think of something that only things that you do to yourself, but imagine you have negative energies that orchestrate a layoff for you personally, or being downsized, or something that really was not under your control, but since it's an energy, that's how it works. Money problems sometimes don't happen because of you, but to you. Important to understand that. Bad employees creating relationship problems. Oh my gosh, this can make you blind to certain aspects of a potential partner, choices that you've made that just didn't work out. We've all had them. Think about those right now for yourself. When there's too much negative energies present, your consciousness is upside down. That's your essence at the bottom, and your essence has little or no influence in this position. So your ego is at the top, and it's not being influenced by your essence. It's being influenced by the world, people around you, advertising, and your physical body gravitates toward pleasure and what it likes to do as opposed to what's good for it. And your essence knows what's good for it, but it's subordinated here. If that negative energy were not present, ego and the physical body would support essence. So this is flipped upside down or right side up now, and your essence knows your life purpose. So ego and the physical body would support life purpose. Ego's gotten a bad rap because people think of it as a negative thing, something that's arrogant or out of control. But that's only when it's upside down. But when it's right side up, your essence is saying, this is my life purpose, and your ego helps support that. This is the way humans are designed. Essence knows your purpose, knows what's best for you, knows the correct timing for all your goals and desires. This is a very simple explanation of how essence works. There is a huge power in the details and knowledge of essence. There is more information to come. This is the vision for the future. Empowered with your unique life purpose, human power that is unknown today. This is what gets me excited every day. This is what makes me crazy enthusiastic, because I see that we've been focusing on accomplishment and not evolution. And evolution, if we were focusing on evolution, we were looking at the health of your essence. We don't look at that now. What we look at is just what's going to get us to the next goal, what's going to help us achieve the next objective. And over time, all of society has started to disintegrate as a result of this. If we focused on evolution, if we focused on our health of our essence, the world could change. If there was a critical mass of people doing this, the world would change. Is now the time for you? Is this your time to shine? This understanding of negative energy and how it's blocked you all your life. Think about any relationship problems, money problems, health issues. They all come from dark energy, and they can be resolved. Are you ready to take the step? Is now the time for you? Stay tuned. We'll tell you more.
This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about the vision we have about beginning to use this basic understanding of essence to empower yourself in ways that you never considered before. And by the way, I'm still finding ways to empower myself. And I've been doing this a long time. It's pretty awesome.
It's amazing when it happens. It really is.
It is. So,
and we're going to keep going with this. Our next show is going to be an extension of this show about essence, and to get more into the details so it's more understandable. But and some of this might take a minute to understand because it doesn't really compute with all the things that we've been taught. So feel free to watch this over and over again to get especially that second segment.
And send us questions if you have any.
Yeah.
So that brings up, Jason, this is truly the root, what we've been talking about today.
You know, people talk about the root cause of problems and the root of this and the root of that.
Yes.
But this is... There's nothing more root than that. People think that maybe your DNA is the root, but we see that this essence controls your DNA.
Yes.
These lineages, these hereditary things, if you look at the energy of it, it tells you so much more information than you could looking through a microscope at a cell or a strand of DNA.
Yes.
So, and there are many disciplines that talk about the shadow side. You know, astrology talks about it. Psychology talks about it.
Yes, it does.
You know, we all have this shadow side, but there's a balance that's supposed to be here on Earth, and the shadow side does not overwhelm the positive. But with dark energy, and this is what we see so clearly, this is the big aha. This is one of them. Yeah, that the dark energy we're talking about is an addition to what's normally considered the shadow side. So
in other words, we think it's just a little, just a shadow. But what it really is, it's tainted. Well, it has tainted our lives.
The dark comes in and turns up the volume. It makes it bigger. It makes the shadow almost insurmountable.
Exactly.
And we've worked with so many people that it's felt like it's been almost insurmountable, the things that they deal with. And by the way, those people that have those kind of issues are not the worst among us and not the lowest level. They are often the most evolved.
Correct.
But they've been targeted because the dark says, oh yeah, that person, if they had evolution, they could do a lot of damage. So
do a lot of damage to negative energy.
Yes. So they are, they get the worst of the worst in terms of crisis and traumas and challenges and all those types of things.
Well, okay, then let me ask the question. Am I correct that the purpose of dark energy is to, hear it out, everyone, enslave Earth?
So people ask us, well, why is dark energy here? What's its purpose?
Right.
To understand that, you have to understand Earth in the context of the whole universe.
Okay.
The Earth has huge value in the universe because of life force. Mm-hmm. Life force creates a physical experience for essence that is not found elsewhere in the universe.
Correct.
As dark energy overwhelms essence, it loses its ability to know purpose and the ability to pursue that purpose.
Right.
And so when that happens, the dark has control. The dark is in charge, and the dark is calling the shots.
Yes.
That's why, you know, we live outside of Yosemite here in California, and in this little town that we live in was a gold rush town.
Yes.
All the towns up here, everything's mother lode or whatever. You know, it's about the gold mining history.
Correct.
And in this gold mining history, there was a lot of negative. A lot of people were killed, shot, hung, all those things. Yes. And it's a really, really a big deal.
Yes.
So it's the same thing with Earth. In a way, Earth is like the gold rush, where the gold rush is happening for the universe.
Right.
And the universe has all this attention on Earth and saying, okay, who's going to be in charge? Who's going to take over?
Right.
And dark energy says, we are. And this is how. Yes. That's why Bashar, Abraham, and Seth came to us and said, we've been waiting for you, because
Yes.
without this information, we're just going to continue to go downhill, and there's nothing that can happen as a result.
Exactly.
Well,
then let me jump in and ask, Jason, the health of the essence, your soul, it equals personal empowerment. And talk to us about that. This is so big, everyone.
We don't pay attention to the soul health or your essence.
No, we don't.
No one says to you, "Well, how's your essence doing today?" When we think about physical illness and disease, we think about the physical body, but that's just the tail. It's like you've heard this expression, "the tail wagging the dog."
That's correct.
That's why it seems so upside down to us, because it's the energy that's first.
Correct.
And that flows into your physical body.
Correct.
So all the work we do with trying to heal our physical body, doesn't get to the root, because it's at this point is where the real health is. Correct. Now, it's not just your physical health that comes from the health of essence. It's your relationship health. The people that have serial divorces, they can't seem to get along. They can't seem to get along with a spouse, let alone other people in the world. Correct. There's people that are like that. It's a lot more common. About them. Yes. And also in money. Mm-hmm. We think that if we don't learn good money management, if we do learn good money management, it'll protect us from having money problems. No, that's not true. No. And so when you get fired, get downsized, when your company moves away and all of a sudden you don't have a job because you can't move with them, that can be energy too. We don't see all these energy things that happen to us as energies. We see them as bad luck, or which by the way is bad luck's an energy, and all these other things. So when you start to think of your health as personal empowerment, oh my gosh. But your health isn't just your physical health. No, it's the health your of relationships, all of who you are. Your physical, your emotional. Just getting up in the morning and saying, I'm so happy to be alive. Exactly. Most of us just spiritual. If we feel that way, most of us are faking it anyways. We don't really feel that way, and that's part of the problem. Exactly. So, Jason, talk about how dark energy has kept you, everyone, from your power. Wow. So going back to this metaphor. Okay. You see, you have these bits of life force. Okay. The bad bits of life force have dark energy attached to them. And for simplicity, we'll say we remove the bad bits and replace them with good bits. So one of the things that we see, and we're going to talk some more about this probably in the next segment, is that there's an 80-20 split, that there's only 20% of our essence is left that has good, or have the white jerseys. Okay, and let me just say, by the way, that is a form of a formula, which is fine because it works here, but it's not just always 80-20. In other words, that's not a defined line. We've seen a lot of people that are 90-10, 95. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So and we think that people that have great accomplishment must have less negative energy. And that's going to be one of the big things for the next show, is that we went back in history. We started talking to some of the people, right? RBG comes forward. When you remove this negative energy, your intuition explodes. It's wonderful in a positive way. Yes. And what it allows is that we're able to go and talk to other people, like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, right? Other people who are no longer living, but also other energies. Exactly. Even one of the great things that we've seen that you can use with intuition that happens as a result of removing this negative energy is going into your own physical body and talking to the parts of you that are not working right, and say what's going on. And I've done a practice of this for myself, and I have to tell you, it's not only enlightening,
but it works.
Dark energy sneaks into our life. It doesn't come with a sign that says, here we are.
Yeah, here we're out and we're going to stay for, 40 years. It doesn't work that way.
One of the biggest difficulties that people have, especially with trying to understand dark energy, is that we have so many normal people that we've worked with who have lots of dark energy attached to them. And they think because they had a normal upbringing, they didn't have abuse, they didn't have all the bad things that you would think of for really challenging upbringing, that everything would be fine. And sometimes those normal people have the most dark energy, but it's become so invisible because what happens is that the dark energy packages their life in a form of white picket fence, and Norman Rockwell's existence. And so they think, oh my gosh, there can't be anything wrong with me. Yeah. There can't be anything wrong with how I was raised.
Correct.
It's got to be okay because that was a form of brainwashing. And where did that brainwashing come from? Oh my gosh.
Negative energy.
It's a big deal. So
it really, really is.
And we're going to do something different today.
Thank you.
We're going to jump to the next segment. We're going to continue with the next segment.
We're going to continue with this last segment into the next segment.
And then we'll do the summary.
Because we have so much information today. And
so
this is really, really, really exciting for all of us. So let me do this in the next segment. We're going to continue to talk about the power available to you. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to continue to talk about the power available to you. I know that we're doing things a little bit different today, but why not? It's about the information as far as I can see it. So, and by the way, I have a tendency to be able to see pretty far. And it's getting better all the time. So with that said, Jason, talk about human power potential.
We've been talking about this for a while, but it feels like it's the same thing when we talk about negative energy. Everybody's probably heard all their life, like we have, that we have a lot more potential than we're using. But then we're told indirectly or directly that the way you get that is changing your attitude, or think positively,
or educate yourself more,
or do affirmations that say, I'm great, I'm going to be successful, I'm going to do all these things. And we see that doesn't change the energy. And because we see energy, we can see how that energy is affected. It doesn't change.
Correct.
But what we're talking about today is truly how to open the door to human potential. And this is how to open the door to your potential. And this is where it's been missing. Because we've been talking about power and power potential, but we don't remove the negative energy, the dark energy that's attached to our essence, our soul. And that's when things start to happen. And, it was funny because, we'll get back to the story of Bashar, Abraham, and Seth, but the reason they came to us, and frankly, this surprised us, but we've been doing this for 25 years. But the truth is, we're not getting acknowledgement within our community, our consciousness community, our subtle energy community, any of that. And this isn't a complaint. It's just obvious that people can't see in those communities our evolution.
Correct.
And to have it validated in this way from Bashar, Abraham, and Seth.
And then a few others.
Yes. And now we got all these others coming in. It's really... it's profound for us.
Yes.
But the reason we're explaining that is not for you to put us on a pedestal, but to see that you can have this for yourself. Well, and that's what we're trying to do.
Exactly. And I want to add, whether you've ever heard it before or you realize it at all, your power for yourself just alone is so important. Most people are taught it doesn't matter at all. But the truth is it does, because when you start using your power, and you do it by removing negative energy, but when you start doing that, then you can see the value of what Bashar, Abraham, and Seth are saying, and wrote more than 25 years ago, was like the last time. Well, actually, it was longer than that. But now that others are starting to come forward and talk about, I mean, Ruth Bader Ginsburg talking to me about potential and getting that information out there and the importance of it,
because she knew when she was alive, she didn't have access to this information.
Not only that, but she struggled to have power because she was a woman.
Well, and
she had information.
But she also told us that this information in the circles that she ran in,
yes,
would not have been acceptable.
Not at the time. So in fact, in case if anybody's asked the question, why are you telling us this now? Why does it matter now? Because the destruction of humans and the destruction of this planet, take a moment to think about how that just is not right. You know it in your heart and soul. You know it. And
what we see very, very clearly is that we think of these things in terms of political, positive, negative, political. It's not that way
at all.
And because we see dark energies on both sides.
Absolutely.
You know, the solutions on one side that are saying, well, we understand climate and change and how that works. And
right.
And so if you guys just would get on board. And that's not always necessarily true 100% either. Well, and we know that there's how the dark works. We need more clarity, and that clarity doesn't come from a thinking process. It comes from an energy process, and that then becomes a knowing process. So here's the most important part. Okay. The real power comes from life purpose. Yes. And I guarantee you, there are so many people. We've worked with so many people for 25 years. No one knows their life purpose, or even if they have an inkling, they don't have the clarity to use it in a way that empowers them in ways that are profound. Exactly. Because why? It's covered up with the negative energy. There's too many bad employees, not enough good ones. Well said. So real power also comes from a complete understanding of your unique skills and ability that are beyond your comprehension now. Yes. Even if you have an inkling or maybe a little nudge that I've got something over there, but it's like grabbing a bar of soap in the shower, you just squirts out of your hand. You can't quite grasp it. That clarity comes from an energy process by removing those bad employees. Well, and I just got a little note from the other side, and the other side said, think about Betsy Ross. Betsy Ross designed our flag, and the flag of the country that we live in. And Betsy Ross would have basically said, well, I just know how to sew. I mean, it's no big deal. But she made a difference. If you're thinking you don't have enough skills or understanding of all those things to even know what your life purpose is, use the ecosystem approach and watch things happen. And sometimes that's a cognitive process. Sometimes, you know, you hear the self-help people talking about it, but that's not what we're talking about. This is an energy process, and that changes everything. Correct. So, okay. So, Jason, with that said, humans have access to power centers. Please talk about that. Bashar, Abraham, and Seth have talked about this, about raising your vibration and evolving that way. Yes. If it wasn't for the dark employees, the bad employees, you could do that. It would just be instinctive. You wouldn't even have to think about it. It would just be instinctive. Okay, I'll do that right now. Sure. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Because we've had the dark energy for so long in these physical bodies and these bad employees, and now we're starting to remove it, and we're still far from having them all removed. Right. Very, very far. We keep working on it. Yes. But it's I wouldn't go back for anything. So no. All these power centers, if you've ever watched Ancient Aliens, we watch that a lot. So you have these access to power centers. The first one is your essence. Yes. Your essence, when you start to remove enough of those bad employees, it has power in itself by knowing your purpose. That is huge power.
Yes.
But there's other things. Planetary energies. We've talked about that.
Right.
Planetary energies are a huge source of power that has not even been used. Even astrology, they don't talk about
how to actually use it.
Yeah, use the power of the planets.
Okay, there's more. Go ahead.
There's more. Life force. Oh my gosh, life force is such a powerful energy that you just have to say, "Here, come."
Yes.
Come here.
Yes.
And it is abundant. You can have as much as you want.
Well, and I want to talk about the next one, because the next one is, there's no other place in the universe or any other place I've ever been that has this unique, amazing energy. And it is, Jason?
Life force.
No, free will.
Free will. I'm sorry.
Free will. And oh my gosh, free will is amazing.
And it's an energy. If you use it as an energy, it's very empowering.
Yes.
We're going to run out of time. So,
yes, of course we are. I'm sorry to say.
The most important thing, okay, there are power centers on Earth like Mount Shasta, Machu Picchu, Stonehenge.
Yes.
You can use those as power centers too. There's all sorts of them on Earth.
But start with the one that's within you.
Your own essence.
Remove that negative energy. It is so amazing. So real quick, Jason, we're just going to do a couple of clearings
no, we have to do the summary.
We have to, the summary. Jason, what is the summary of this segment?
Human beings have amazing power that has been unknown for centuries.
Yes.
When essence is healthy, it has the power that is untapped in the world today.
Yes.
Most people will not truly understand or be able to connect with this information. If you're feeling just a subtle nudge or buzz, if there is any sort of sign whatsoever that has been activated, it's time for you to embrace this, even if it feels crazy to you. Do it now.
Yes.
Subscribe to our free newsletter. Go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Now is the time. Now is your time. Things are happening in your life.
Exactly.
And I want to, before we run out of time, we're not going to do the clearings today because we don't have enough time.
Okay.
But if you want more of this,
there you go.
You can do two things. One, go to our website, theecosystemapproach.org.
Yes.
Sign up for our free section. You want to have our newsletter. You want to hear more of the details of this.
Right.
And then go to our YouTube channel, The Ecosystem Approach with Jason and Patricia Rohn. You can be listening to this or seeing it on many different outlets, but go to that YouTube place, subscribe to our channel, and you'll be guaranteed that you'll get all the new information as going forward.
And I want to say, tell a friend, get yourself a clearing buddy. And the reason that I say that is it makes it so much better, because when you two together start removing negative energy, you're going to need somebody to talk to. And you're going to need someone to tell what you saw while you were removing negative energy, or what happened because you did remove negative energy. You will learn through an understanding of yourself that when you start removing negative energy, that there is so much more to you than you ever thought possible.
When you start doing this, what happens is you see things, and with a clearing buddy, you can talk about it.
Exactly.
But otherwise, you start to think, "Oh, I must be going crazy.
Yeah.
There must be something wrong with me."
Yes.
No. That's how the dark has worked all these years.
That is correct.
Hundreds of years of saying, "Okay,
yes,
it's discredited this type of thing because it makes you feel like you're being crazy. You're not being crazy." So we're going to connect in 2 weeks at 1 p.m. Pacific time and 4 p.m. Eastern time.
Mm-hmm.
So
and this is Transformation Talk Radio. And you're listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. Come back, everyone.
Living like an ecosystem is the key to a better life for you.
Thank you for listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. I'm Patricia. Tune in every week as we discuss practical ways to apply the ecosystem approach and develop your potential to live your life on your terms. For more information, visit our website at theecosystemapproach.org.